Um, okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the singing group session with Carla. My name is Dita as one of the admin team. And before the class starts, I would like to remind you about a few things. Please turn off your microphone when not speaking or singing, but please turn on your camera when possible. And if you have any question, feel free to use the chat box unless otherwise instructed by the facilitator. And you are free to use the chats also, but please keep all the interaction respectful and safe for all ages.
Eating because I was
Don't
stressed
forget-
out. Can't bar.
Sorry, I'm sorry. That's my fault.
No, it's okay. Don't forget, all the class rules can be accessed through here, and we also have interpretation feature. And if you have any questions or concern, do not hesitate to contact the admin team. And without further ado, please welcome our facilitator, Carla Canales.
Fantastic. Thank you. And sorry about that. Apologies. I'm just setting up for the lesson today. I invite all of you who can to please turn your video on because I missed your faces. I miss seeing you. It's really nice to be back. I feel like it's been a long time. And yeah, I'm not seeing as many faces as I would like. So thank you to those who have turned on your video. It's so nice to see you, Jane, Effica, and I really invite everybody else to please turn on. All right, let's dive in because I'm excited for everything we have to cover. So I'm gonna go through a quick review of what we've done till now. If you recall, in the very first few lessons, we talked about some key principles for singing. What was, before we even get to the singing, what did we talk about as the first one? Let's see, I'm going to cold call, and this is just for the sake of time here. Alexandra, hi, good evening. Do you remember what I shared was like the first thing for singing? There were sort of 5 principles. Do you remember the first one?
I don't remember the first one, but I know the ones after that.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let's see, Jane, do you remember the first one? Jane's not sure either.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm so sorry. Oh,
Who remembers the very first thing about singing? Remember there were 5. Yes, Camilla, thank you. That's right, breathing. No worries, no worries. So breathing is our first principle. And even before breathing, we talked a little bit about posture, right? And trying to stand behind the wall and sort of feel your posture. Okay, so posture, breathing. What's number 2? I'm gonna go back to Alexandra. Do you remember number 2? I'm picking on you today. Okay, Madeline, do you remember number 2? Maybe Madeline is frozen. Mario, do you remember number 2?
Vocal cords, vocal production.
That's exactly right. Thank you. And I see, Karina, you put that in the chat too. That's right. So we breathe in our lungs and that air goes right through our vocal cords. And if you remember, if you put your hand right here and you just hum or speak, you should feel the vibration of those vocal cords. Remember, we saw the MRI scans and the videos of those little tiny vocal folds. Great, that's number 2. Now, let's see, when we are going back, when we're going up and the sound carries forward, what did we talk about as number 3? What helps the formation of the words? I'm sort of giving it away with this. I'm going back to Alexandra. What do you think, Alexandra?
I'm looking at my notes.
So someone in the chat has helped you out here. Let's see, we have Felicia and Camilla. Thank you. Articulators, absolutely. So our tongue and our lips and mouth are our articulators. And that's where we started all those warm-ups, like, right? And the raspberry, as we call it, right? So that's number 3. Excellent job. Now, what about number 4? Who remembers? What would number 4 be? Anybody want to jump in here? Resonance. Thank you guys on the chat. That's exactly right. And that is what we're going to talk about today is resonance. So we finally made it to point number 4. Okay, so before I dive into resonance, which may be the most challenging and the most rewarding of the 5 steps. So this is something we're going to spend a little bit of time on. Let's do a quick review of the vocal leases or the vocal warm-ups that we have learned. So I gave a few away, right, about the lip trill. You can all do it off camera, off the microphone. Just doing it in sirens, right? We did the rolled R, which I like to practice as pot of tea. Pot of tea, 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 pot of tea. And it's just the tongue flickering very, very quickly. The key for both the lip trill and the tongue is to keep the airflow consistent, right? So if I run out of air, I'm not going to make the sound, or same with the R. If I run out of air, it's going to stop. Now, same for the raspberry. The raspberry, I don't know how we got that name, but I call it also the double, which is your tongue out. So that actually really is the most challenging because the air has to be super steady on that one. Okay, we've done those 3 exercises. Does anyone remember any of the other exercises we've done? Do you remember what we did for the registers? So I'm going to do a very quick review here. We talked a lot about, we have talked a little bit about resonance and register. We're going to talk about it in different terms today, but yes, Jane, thank you, the yodeling. So something like, ooh, wah, where you're going from your head voice on an ooh vowel, sliding down to an ah vowel in your chest voice. Ooh, or the other way around. Ooh, so you can go up, down, up, back and forth. That's exactly right. Top, bottom, or bottom, top. And the I love you exercise, which goes from your head voice to your chest voice to your mixed voice. I love you. So that it's head voice, chest voice, mixed voice. Good. We've done a couple other exercises kind of in and out of this, but before I dive into resonance today, which is a little bit tied to our 5th element, you will see, which is projection. Does anybody have any questions? We're off to a banging start. We're going a mile a minute here. Any questions before we dive in here? I'm going to introduce a brand new concept today. No questions. Okay. All right, guys. So today, what we're going to talk about, we're going to learn about a concept that is very much about placement, or you may have heard of it referred to as the mask. How many of you have heard of the mask? Sort of this idea of utilizing the sinus resonators to help with the vibrations. So I'm going to show you a brief video, which I think explains it very well. And then we're going to dive in. Jim Carrey movie, The Mask, the Jim Carrey movie. No, not that movie, but that is a well taken point. I like your thinking. Okay, so let me just share my screen and let's dive in.
Tutok Kelda. Ano belum? Besok aja.
So we might just ask everybody to mute yourself real quick. Yeah, here we go.
And chips and donuts.
Sorry
and
for
eating
this,
weight. But since I started Noom, I've lost 70 pounds.
Hi everyone, happy Thursday. Well, thanks for tuning in this week. If you saw my last voice lesson about belting, probably made you curious.
So before we really go into this, guys, I know there's a million and one voice videos
Gak ada gambarnya semua gitu.
on YouTube. And I love and encourage you guys to check out everything on YouTube because it's fun and there's a lot of good stuff. There's also a lot of not so good stuff. And this particular teacher, I'll put this link in the chat. I like her exercises. I like her approach. She also does a really nice job of demonstrating between like classical and pop. And so you'll sort of get to see some different angles. So just a sort of word of warning, don't believe everything you see on YouTube. And if you want some references or ideas, just send me a little note and I'm happy to give more.
Out twang. So instead of leading the whole voice lesson like this, I'm just giving you an example of how to talk when you're talking about twang. And of course, the accent just comes in like I'm Fran Drescher from The Nanny. I know I'm old. Okay.
What is twang? Twang is that brightening. It's not nasality, which people think it is. It is a nasal placement, yes, for sure. But it's dealing with kind of the vocal color and putting it in to the front of your face. And there are a lot of great exercises that I will do today that can teach you how to use twang.
Okay, so before we dive in there, twang is what she's calling it. Some teachers will call it a nasal resonance, but what we're talking about is resonance. That's the fourth one, and sort of a nasal placement for resonance. So I like this term twang. It kind of makes it sound a little bit more fun. And she's going to walk us through some exercises, but the way she just demonstrated it in the speaking voice, it's like if you're talking really nasal, like a witch. So before we even dive in, I want you all on mute to try to do like a witch's laugh, like, it's this very, very nasal kind of a placement that she's calling twang, and we'll use that term, yeah? All right.
The benefits of twang. You can increase your sound up to 600%.
Oh.
What? And it requires less effort than, say, belting. And it requires you to use less air, which in turn means less effort. You can sustain and carry a sound without belting. Okay, so ground rules. Number one, you cannot be afraid to sound ugly. We're going to do a lot of exercises today. Actually, all of the exercises will not sound good, will not sound pretty, not exactly what you're wanting. But I'll try to give you an example of using twang and how you can kind of lessen it and create, this is like what we build up to. And then you can decide on your own how you adjust your sound to make it how you want it to sound. If you want it to be a little bit deeper, not as nasal, not as bright. But there are some notes that you just need to get into that placement, and then you can kind of adjust the sound from there. Twang is definitely a more contemporary term that is usually associated with more contemporary singing. But if you're a classical singer, you can really add more vibrancy and brilliance or brightness to your sound by using techniques of twang. Okay, so we're gonna make some weird sounds. Just go with me. Over-exaggerated twang, a really great sound to demonstrate that would be a duck. Like that. I use the term dying cat a lot. Let's change it to whining cat. Oh, that's so much nicer.
So everybody, we're going to practice these as she goes. I gave the witch example, but duck is great. So let's just practice what is your duck sound like. Again, don't be afraid to sound ugly. It's really about finding that placement.
A whiny sound. You hear a lot of teachers use I like to just say this is kind of like that whiny cat sound.
So that's another one to practice.
All up here in the front. So I want you to try that. Squish your face up a little bit. Think of really high tongue placement. Whiny, bright sound. Now this is pretty much the opposite of when we talk about lifting our soft palate and our head voice. That like yawny open noise, whoa, space. This is the opposite. So you're lowering your soft palate and raising your tongue and kind of squishing your face. Okay, maybe if you're home and there are other people there, either tell them to take a nice walk or shut your door. Thanks. Here's a good vocal exercise when we're working on twang. I want you to think of saying the word sing, but then just the NG. Sing, sing,
So we're going to go over a lot of these NG exercises, and she's doing it great. So this idea of, if you recall, we've done a little bit of it. The back of your tongue should cover the back of your throat. So it's like, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's, your tongue is really covering, so I can sing it with an open mouth. Sometimes when we make a humming sound, we do it with our mouth closed. Right? But this is actually with your mouth open. So practice that and find that. It may take you a moment to figure that out. The sing. Yeah?
Now that was all in my lower register. I'm gonna kind of go into my mix and up into my upper register. Sing, 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 sing. So you should feel it resonating. It's kind of like a buzzing. You'll feel it here and really here. Sing, sing. Feel that? That's twang, y'all. So when can we put twang to use? A good time to use twang would be when you need to sing something that's too high to belt and it feels too thin, like your head voice. If you're struggling with your upper notes and you feel like your head voice is too breathy sounding and open, it feels really breathy, and you want to create a bigger, bolder sound, then that's a good place to bring in twang. So we're going to try scales, and you're going to do this on a nya. So NYA, just think nya, 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 kind of that whiny cat thing.
Yep, I want you to also take note of this nya, because we're also going to practice that a lot. NYA, it's like that cat. Nya, 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 nya.
So if you feel like this is too far back, that's in that lifted soft palate space, too far back. Think of that squishy frontal space that you're sending it right here. Right? Really attractive, I know. Last week you might have seen my music video, Hello by Adele. And I did a lot of belting in that music video. I did use twang on a few notes when I was flipping in that song. But today I'm gonna raise the chorus, make it much higher, a little too high to belt, for me, comfortably. So if I wasn't using twang, and I was singing all the way up here, Hello from the other side. First of all, I feel like that sound is a little too maybe classical, a little too straight.
So I want you guys to really take note of how she is changing the technique slightly from classical to pop. When she talked about that lifted soft palate, and how that is really a very kind of classical technique, classical tone, and the twang is bringing it forward more for more of a pop sound, yeah?
Where it's also pretty thin for me. Hello from the other. The more and more I push the air out, the more and more I try to give myself more volume in that space. It's just thin. Okay, so now I'm going to use twang. Here's the difference. And now I'm adding twang. Okay, now, whoop. So that's not necessarily a pretty sound either, but I hope that gives you an idea of the contrast. If you could tell the difference between the two, how the second one was much louder, really cuts through. That's definitely.
And this is a key point, is that twang or nasal resonance will make the sound much louder, like my dog. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
Example of twang. Another singer that I reference a lot your volume, and I didn't have to do much at all. It's still, really easy, healthy. It sounds pretty intense, doesn't it?
I'm so sorry about that. Let me, I put myself on mute because the dog was barking. So let me go back. Sorry.
You're probably going, I don't want to learn how to do kind of that high gospel belt sound. So that's a high G. If I were to sing that kind of just as I would sing that, that's kind of my classical.
And do you see her classical sound has a slight vibrato that comes in? Let's listen to that again.
Really focused. So that's a high G. If I were to sing that kind of just as I would sing that, so it's kind of my classical, really focused upper soprano sound. Okay, now I'm going to move that note directly from that classical kind of long placement into twang. And you can see how it kind of creates that really whiny, bright sound. But imagine over that gospel choir or that, that really beefy sound that we want. That was just an example of kind of transforming. Your tongue will lift and your face will get a little squishier. So I'm going to try yeah up here. Yeah. Yeah. That's the difference. It's a much more powerful sound. I believe it when you say 600% volume, because it really does increase your volume. And I didn't have to do much at all. It's still, really easy, healthy. It sounds pretty intense, doesn't it? You're probably going, I don't want to learn how to do that. But honestly, if you can kind of gain this technique of just learning twang, then I promise you, you'll be able to do a lot more as a singer, especially when you're wanting to create more volume and a more powerful sound in your upper register. So thank you all for twanging with me. And if you have any other questions, please leave them below. It's hard to teach a voice lesson to just leave it out there and not get feedback. So I really want to know what's working for you, what you have questions.
Okay, I'm gonna just put this video in the chat because I do think she is really great at demonstrating and explaining between the different styles. And how do I stop sharing? There we go. So I can't hear her high notes. Uh-oh, were you guys not able to hear the video? Gosh, I'm so sorry. I thought that the volume was working. Couldn't hear some parts. Okay, well, here is the link. So I do want to suggest that you go back and listen to it and take some notes, but she has given us a few good places to start. So again, now that we have a little bit of time, the video is not on. I want you to just practice in a very simple way, this cat sound. So I do it like this. Or you can do it higher. And what I'm doing is if you can see, remember we talked about those flared nostrils? I'm really feeling it right here. Do you see how flared my nostrils are? So I want you to all practice that. It is not a pretty sound at all, but it should be a very vibrant and very loud sound. And so when I talked about those 5 areas of singing, the breathing, the vocal production, the articulators, I said there's the resonance and there's projection. Those are our 2 last ones. And this idea of twang actually helps with both of those. It helps with the resonance and the placement, but it also has this added benefit that it will give you a much louder projection, so to speak, and a healthier one too. We're going to watch some videos as well on, so you can see where this nasal resonance is. It's sort of the hollowing of the sinuses. And when you activate that place, as you do in twang, it gives you an added sort of what we call a natural microphone. It's a natural amplifier for your voice. So practice this sound of just yeah, yeah, yeah. And once you find it, and I sometimes will crinkle, can you guys just practice this muscle? Just kind of a lift. Remember we did our nasal nostril flaring. So we'll go back to that, and then just the lift. It looks like you guys are doing it really, really well. And then this, yeah. Looks like you guys are all finding it. Now let's try to find one note. I'll just pick a middle C. Can you just all find it on one note and just repeat it? Yeah. Now let's try like a cat. Yeah. Now this will be harder as you find the sound of the nasal twang and try to bring it up a third. Yeah. Do you feel like it kind of wants to break a little bit? Are you guys feeling that? Who would like to sort of be my guinea pig? Who, do I have any volunteers that I can work with on this? Just raise your hand. No volunteers, really? Jane Alina, will you volunteer? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So go ahead and unmute. Just find for me that sound. Nya, 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 nya.
Nya, 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 nya.
Very good. Very good. I think with your voice, I might go a little bit higher. Sorry, I'm testing my piano here. Like, nya, nya, nya. Can you do it there?
Nya, nya, nya.
Can you go, yeah, let's, it's high for me, but yeah. So try to go up a note. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nya, nya. Like that?
There you go. Really, really good. Yeah. And it feels kind of like it's going to break a little bit. Like it's, yeah, because you, so try putting the nya on both notes. Nya, nya, nya.
Nya, nya, nya.
There you go. Very, very good. Well done. Well done. Thank you, Jane Alina. Anybody else want to give it a try? Nobody else, really?
Can I
Oh,
give
thank
it
you,
a try?
Hilda. Yeah, hi.
I think I want to try.
Let's hear it. Let's try that middle C again. I think that's always a good place to start. Nya, nya, nya.
Nya, nya, nya.
That's really good. It's pretty though. Can you make it a little bit nastier? Like try for me the witch's laugh. That's it. Do you guys, does everybody else hear the difference? It's a really kind of like nasty sound. Can you try it like that? Good, even more nasty. There you go. That's your sound. There you found this twang. So now I would encourage you to try just doing like a little scale on it. Can you try that?
Okay. Nya, 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 nya.
Very good. Very, very good. This is exactly it. It takes a while to become familiar with this placement, but I think you found it really, really well. Thank you, Hilda.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you. Let's hear from Bunga. Hi.
Wow, I'm so excited.
Oh, awesome. Let's just hear, can you try it like on that one note? Nya, nya, nya.
Nya, nya, nya.
You got it. Really good. Can you go for me? Excellent. Now, nya, 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 nya.
Nya, 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 nya.
Good. Even nastier. Nya. Good.
I didn't get
I know,
it
it's really
at the end,
uncomfortable.
though.
I know. We're gonna introduce another approach, which the teacher in the video introduced also. Can you do for me Sing, where you're holding the NG of sing. Sing.
Sing.
Excellent. That was really, really good. So actually, thank you so much, Bunga, because you're demonstrating this for everybody. Everyone, I want you to find that NG. Sing. So it's an NG. Remember, it's like the humming with the open mouth.
Sing.
Sing. You got it. You got it, Bunga. Thank you so, so much. That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you. That was really, really good. Anybody else want to give it a try? Awesome. Okay, now we're having some volunteers. How about Radin? Is that the right way to pronounce it?
Yeah, it's Raden. Okay.
Radin. Hey, so try for me. Let's try it low. Nya, 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 nya.
Nya, 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 nya.
Good.
Is it
Can you
with
make it?
the kind of twangy sound?
Yeah, let's do the witch's laugh first. I feel like the witch always helps us find it. Even more nasally. Good. Let's go higher for you. Good. I know it sounds so silly, but you're doing it perfectly. Now try for me. There you go. Do you feel that placement? And I have to smile to do it. Like I can't, I can't do it long. It has to be kind of with a scrunched up smiley face, if that makes sense.
I feel like there is some in the end part, like I need to jump. What is it? I mean, like it changed something like.
Yes, because you want to open it instead of keep it there. Exactly. Try for me. This is a different approach. Can you stick your tongue out? And go, let's go. Really nasal. There you go. There you go. Now try this. I'm trying all these experiments with you. Try biting your tongue. Yeah, do you feel that? It's a little funny. Everybody try it. So it's like, yeah, yeah. So now go. Higher for your voice. Good. So what I'm seeing with you, Radin, is you want to open your jaw. And when you open your jaw, the sound is going to go back. Try to keep it really small and smiley. There you go. And higher. There you go. Do you guys hear the difference? It's yeah. So part of it is to really keep it in the smiley place. And do you remember when we watched videos like of Whitney and some of the singers that we really saw those canine teeth? Remember I talked about that one time, like that position, that's the position. Yeah, that was awesome. Really great job. Great job. And I think we had one more. Was it Effica? Do you want to give it a try?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Yeah. So try it for me, like here. Nya, nya, nya.
Nya, nya, nya.
Good, good. So now let's try it. Let's try like the witch's laugh. Nya, ha, ha. Nya. Nya, ha, ha. Nya. Oh, I think your volume is like in and out a little bit. Can you try it with your tongue out for me? Can you go? So actually bite your tongue. So you're only going to get a hum. There you go. And let's keep it. This is also often used in a higher register. all of you should feel that when you bite your tongue, you should feel like you're able to access kind of a higher range. Do you feel that, Efika?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like will pop things into that head voice. So now try for me. Good, good for you, good for you. So I think you're finding it pretty well. Can you try for me? Sing.
Sing.
That's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. Good. You guys all hear it? Good job. Really good job, Efika. Good. Does anybody have any questions on this at all? Because this is not the easiest thing. So I want to show you another video. I'm sorry, I'm just getting this up here. I hope that this is going to make sense because it's a little bit, here we go. Share the screen. So let's just look.
Hey everyone, it's Doug. Hope you're well. In today's video, what we're actually going to be talking about is vocal placement. Now, I'm using the word vocal placement to describe vocal twang, pharyngeal resonance, nasal resonance, singing to the mask, and singing to the soft palate.
So that's a lot that you just covered. Vocal twang, nasal resonance, pharyngeal resonance, which is a space back here. And then he talked about the mask, vocal mask. Yeah.
Because they are all interchangeable and I just don't want to cause any confusion. Anyway, let's get into the video.
So all this to say, there's a lot of terms for the same thing. I think for the purposes of this lesson, because I started with twang, I'll use twang. Sometimes I might use mask, but they mean exactly the same thing.
So today we're going to be using the term vocal placement because all the labels that we described at the start of the video, pharyngeal, etc., actually, it all just means placing the voice into this general area where it becomes much brighter. It allows for more freedom and it allows you to release into your higher range more easily. And it was actually one key thing that I learned that really impacted my voice and had people really starting to say, man, your voice improved a lot. I'll show you a video of me singing before I did any vocal training, and I'll show you how I really didn't have any control of the brightness in my tone, or I didn't really have control of my tone in general.
So it doesn't sound that bad, right? He's on pitch, he has a tone, but the voice, let's notice the volume of his voice here.
So that video was from 2011 and I was still in high school. I wasn't really a singer. I was more just mucking around with the guitar. And then in 2014, I started doing vocal training, like vocal lessons. And by 2015, I had this bright ping sound built into my voice. And I think I even did it a bit too much. So you can check that out here. You're the reason why I can't listen to the same songs I used to. I write songs about you all the time, but I don't run through your mind. Oh, not giving up on you, but it feels to know that you're not alone. Don't worry, no, keep out of your life and stay awake at night. And then personally, I believe from 2015 to 2018, I've matured as an artist and a vocalist. And you can hear how I use the bright ping now in a much more mature way, just to get the brightness of my tone to project. So check this out.
So that's the fifth element. Okay, so I'm trying to pause it there. Do you see how flared his nostrils are? Guys, you'll start to notice things with singers. And sort of there's a little bit of canine action going on there. But when he talked about this idea of projection, this is where the twang intersects with the fifth element, which is projection. It naturally amplifies the voice to be much louder.
So I hope I've convinced you that this bright piercing tone is actually something you really, really should build into your voice, even if you don't want to sound whiny, even if you don't want to sound poppy. If you want to sing R&B, if you want to sing rock, whatever you want to sing, I really believe that this exercise that I'm going to show you today is going to be completely integral. When I first learned about this bright piercing tonal quality, that was what led me to believe that I really, really could improve my voice. Because before, when I'd sing, I think I would sound not very good about 80% of the time. And then maybe 10 or 20% of the time, I could hear moments where it was like, that doesn't sound too bad. That doesn't sound too bad. And what I realized was more and more, I was hitting that correct vocal placement, which is allowing more resonance. And all I had to do to get a really nice sounding voice, I don't mean to brag, but you know, I'm pretty happy with the way it's shaping up. So I just focused on getting that bright piercing tonal quality, that vocal placement, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, into my tone all the time, so that when I just opened my mouth and sang, my voice would be bright, my voice would be more resonant, and it sounded more professional. So I'll show you now. So now I'll show you the first step in getting this bright piercing tonal quality. We're going to do a la, la. And now if you do it and it comes out like this, la, just know that it's probably not bright enough. So brighten it up. Maybe try smiling into it. La.
Okay, so just look at his face, guys. You can see the nostrils are flared and he's lifting. And that's when we were just talking about the muscles here without even singing a note. This idea of regular lift, regular lift. And I really want you to put like your fingers on your cheeks and just practice lifting it. The way that I learned this, I'll never forget. I was 18 years old and I learned it because one day I was wearing my glasses kind of accidentally. I forgot to put my contact lenses on, and my glasses, all of a sudden I could feel the cheeks on the frames of my glasses. So even if you, I see Hilda, you have glasses on, you'll probably feel the cheeks on your glasses. But like for those of you, like you might even want to practice with sunglasses, because when you feel that lift in your cheeks, that's the special spot. Yeah.
Maybe even stick your tongue out if you need to. La.
Right. And so we were practicing that as well. I like to find it first by biting my tongue. But you can just play around with it different ways. And I'm obviously going much more nasal than the gentleman here is.
Do whatever you need to do in your voice right now to get a feeling of a bright piercing ping like this. La. And let's take it up. So take a breath. We're going to do a 4-tone scale. I'll demonstrate once. La. Now you try it with me. 1, 2, 3.
So I'm going to fast forward this a little bit here.
That vocal twang, fringe resonance, sing to the mask, nasal resonance. It's got so many tones, but the placement of the voice up there.
That's the second exercise. So the second exercise is always going to be that hum. Right now, I'm sorry, I want to go back and forth between the video and this way I think you guys can see me better. So I'm giving you some real exercises here. The first one is tongue out, ha, ah, or biting your tongue. I always feel, especially for women, that biting your tongue will just pop it out and forward because there's nowhere else for it to go. The tongue is out. But then you can also practice that by opening the mouth and dropping the from biting the tongue to open. So you can practice that way. The other way to practice is a hum. And I recommend that NG hum. So that the back of my tongue is covering the back of my mouth. Everybody just try that. Just go as high as you can. It's kind of like the, so you're not actually singing yet. But then you can start to open it out. Right? So practice that a little bit on that hum and then opening it up. And the third exercise is this NGA. Right? Which is kind of like that witch's laugh. I'm going to put this video also in the chat so you guys can follow along. But I thought it was interesting to hear his sound before and after. And many people will say that this idea of the mask placement twang is like the revolutionary piece in the singing. It might be the single biggest lesson for a singer to learn that can show considerable improvement. Does anybody have questions about these exercises? I'm really pausing for a lot of questions because I want to make sure that you all understand this. It's much easier to do this one in person. Another tool that you might want to use if you're having a hard time finding it is to take a pencil and bite the pencil. I hesitate too much with the pencil because I don't want you to become dependent on the pencil. But if you're really having a hard time finding it, that's going to give you your canine teeth. It's going to give you your lift automatically. Yeah. And then you can start to practice some scales. And so it's a little bit funny, but it's not a bad thing to try. So maybe if you have a pencil right now, just let's practice that. Or I guess you could use a pen too. Just don't hurt your teeth. I'm seeing all of you guys. Would anybody like to try to demonstrate this? Does anybody want to come up and just volunteer to show me? Thank you. Thank you, Benita. Let's hear it.
Is that right?
It sounded good, but I could only hear a little bit. I think JPAC folks, can you remind us of the microphone setting, and maybe we can all take a moment to just make sure the mics, I know there's like a certain volume setting that. Yeah, try it again. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you better. Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very good. Wow, that's a beautiful voice. Can you try for me like something like just without a scale, just an octave? I think it sounds good, but your volume setting, it's like in and out a lot. So maybe if you can put your volume setting on, maybe JPAC team, if you can help us find that volume setting, that would be great. But I think you're doing well, Benita. Thank you. It sounded good to me. Oh, thank you, JPAC. They've put it in the chat. So everybody just make sure you're on that right setting. And definitely, yeah, you do have to go all out. You can't, it's a big sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'll show you when I'm doing this, like on the bottom notes. Yeah. Do you guys hear how nasal that is? And then I will modify it, which is sort of the part 2. I was going to do this after the break. And I can modify that to something that's a little bit more operatic, but keeps the volume there. Yeah. So the key first thing is to find that placement, to find that twang. And it may take you a while to find it. Once you've found it, then you want to do a slight modification so that it doesn't sound like an ugly sound, but it carries the same volume. Does this make sense, guys? Yeah. Okay. All right. I want to show you one more quick video then. I'm so sorry. You know what? Because I'm having a hard time finding the video. Guys, why don't we just take our 10-minute break right now? And then what I'm going to come back and show you how this is applied to singing. So we will come back, let's say at 5 minutes after the hour at 8:05 your time. Is that okay? So take a little break right now and then, try to practice these exercises. I know that they might seem weird, but trust me, they might be the biggest thing that you take away from our lessons. It's a really important lesson today. All right, we will see you back in 10 minutes. Thanks, guys. Hi, everyone. Thanks for, great. Thanks for your patience here as I finally got the videos up. And just a gentle reminder to please fill out the attendance form. So glad that everybody is here. And this concept that we're covering today, I know sounds really crazy, but we're going to work on it quite a bit. It's an important one. So, okay, I'm going to share some different videos, and this might all seem very weird, but I promise there is a purpose. Okay. Okay, so this is Cardi B. How many of you guys know who Cardi B is? Is she a popular artist there? Do you guys kind of know a little bit? So she does a lot of crazy noises, like really, really crazy sounds. Even though she's known for rapping, she can make a lot of just insane sounds. So this is just 1 minute, but actually what I want you to focus on is that most of the sounds are in this kind of twang space. So,
But it's gonna be
okay, I think that's it. But look, the idea is she's doing a lot of that. She's doing a lot of that kind of twang thing in all of her crazy sounds. So I know it seems like really bizarre, but yeah. Okay. Now I want to show you a little bit of the physiology of what it is that we're talking about here.
Right back here, and right, voice resonates in. This is a diagram of the inside of the head. So here's your mouth, tongue pictured here. the nasal cavity. So chest voice resonates in the mouth itself. Head voice resonates in the nasal cavity. And the pharynx is this interesting little spot right back here and right back here. So we have the oropharynx and the nasopharynx. So two sections of the pharyngeal cavity that we are going to be using the most for singing.
So she's introducing this term laryngocavity, right? The nasopharynx. But if you look at this chart that she has up, A, which is where my mouse is, right? That's essentially your sinus cavity. And that's the area that we're trying to get to buzz with this exercise of the twang. If you put your fingers here and you do that, you should feel like a little bit of a vibration there. And that's how you'll know. That's why we often refer to it as the mask, because that's sort of where it's placed, is around the eyes.
So if you put all of your sound in your chest voice, it'll resonate in your mouth. So you can try this by putting your hand on your chest and saying, ah. It sounds very bassy, very deep, very, just very loud.
And I would say you'll also feel it in your chest. You'll feel a little bit of resonance there.
Okay, not good or bad, just loud. Then you have your head voice. That resonates in the top of the nasal cavity. You can try this by putting your hand above your eyebrows and saying, woo! That resonates all the way up in the top. Now, if you're going to isolate all the sound in the pharynx, right back here, the best way to feel that is to put your finger underneath your nose.
So you see, there's 1,000,001 exercises here. I don't know about this, but I think what she's really getting at is that you're flaring your nostrils. You might feel a little bit there, but she is making the distinction of your chest voice, your head voice, and that this twang thing is very much in the center.
Sound and feel very buzzy and whiny and gross. Okay, so that is what people are trying to say when they refer to the mask. The mask basically is that feeling of vibration that you get in the front of the face when the sound is vibrating or housed in the pharyngeal cavity, because it makes everything back here vibrate, which is connected to the roof of the mouth. It makes that vibrate, which is connected to the front of the nose, which makes that vibrate. So basically you get this feeling like you're wearing a mask that's shaking on the front of your face. Okay, that is.
So yeah, basically it's a good explanation, but I would say that you're also getting a vibration in your sinuses, in your nasopharyngeal cavity, with the front cavity. There are a lot of other videos on this, but I wanted you to see that side chart view of the mouth just as a reminder of this. Iconic. Okay, sorry, I'm checking into the chat there. Okay, so now I want to look at two videos. This is something a little bit different. Forgive me for curating so many videos today, but this is a bit of a homework assignment for you guys. I have really fallen in love with this series. It's called Song Association by Elle. Has anybody seen this? Has anybody checked out Song Associations? No? If you have, raise your hand so I know. Oh, good. Oh, cool. Yeah, some of you have. Very, very, very cool. So what I like about this, thank you guys, is that we actually get to hear singers doing stuff a cappella most of the time. I think Darren Criss plays guitar for himself. So we can actually like analyze the technique much better. So your homework assignment for next Friday, and believe me, I will call on people, is to pick one of the song associations and be ready to talk about it. So I'll just go here. You can see, this is Elle. I had rigged this one up, but sorry, we're gonna, if you go to YouTube, go to watch Elle's videos, you'll see there's K-pop Song Association episodes. There's yes, 5 seasons of the Song Association. I think they have like a Broadway edition of Song Association. There's like a bunch of them. So I want you to just pick one and be able and ready to talk about it in technical terms. When is she using a chest voice or a head voice, or at least be able to give 2 or 3 examples, yeah? So what we're gonna do is watch the Ariana DeBose part of it anyway. So do you guys all know who Ariana DeBose is? You should. If you don't know who she is, you definitely should know her. She is a big Broadway star. She won the she won the the Oscar for her portrayal of Anita in West Side Story just a few months ago. She's just epic. And I've seen all of these Song Association videos. I'm obsessed with them. I love them. And in my opinion, she is definitely one of the very, very best. The reason for it is she can sing anything. And we're going to watch her in a few minutes go from Broadway style to pop style to gospel and anything. And I want you to be aware of her technique, but also be aware of her confidence, which is another area we're going to start to talk a lot more about as we start to close our technical exploration. We're getting into number 4, number 5, resonance production. We're now going to start to translate these lessons into your songs and performance. And I know that all of you are aware we have audition workshops coming up and we have performance days coming up. And no matter what, at the end of the day, our job as singers is to be communicators. The technique serves to help us communicate, but technique isn't everything, right? So watch her, and I'm going to call on people afterwards to give me some thoughts on what are her strengths, what are her weaknesses. Remember that SWOT analysis. So be ready to share 1 or 2 comments, specific comments, not just I liked her or I like the way she sings a song, but I like the way she belts in this song, or I like the way she riffs in that song. Yeah. All right.
Away from me now.
I'll go back.
Nothing, no, me, close my door. I don't want to hurt anymore. Stay in my arms, you there, I must stay. Imagine you there, don't walk.
Okay, so you see why I love this. First of all, I get so excited to hear her. But it's so cool because she's completely a cappella and we hear her vocals, 100% unedited vocals here. So this is a real thing, right? Watch the way her nose is flaring, watch the teeth, watch the mouth, watch all of it, guys. I'm gonna be calling on you. And I see somebody has their hand up. Alexandra, do you have a question?
Oh no, I forgot to put it down. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Here we go. Guys, you're in for a treat. She's so good.
Hi, I'm Ariana DeBose, and I am going to play a game of Song Association with Elle. I will be given a word, and I will have a mere 10 seconds to sing or rap the word in the song. I don't have high hopes for my success in this game, but alas, I will be a good sport. Oh, I have seen the show many times. I enjoyed Olivia Rodrigo very much recently, but I won't cheat and use only her answers, I promise. But before we get to the game, be sure to check out West Side Story in theaters. Wear a mask.
How many of you guys have seen West Side Story? Yeah, for a class like this, every single hand should go up that you've seen it, yeah? Again, I'm gonna stop and talk you through this, but one of the ultimate goals for me with this class before the end of the term is gonna be that you are able to analyze a performance, to do the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, threats, as if you were a voice teacher, as if you were myself. Because when we finish our time together, my job teaching you is to teach you to teach yourself. and to teach you to teach each other. So in July and August, I mean, I hope that we'll always be in touch. But if you're there and you're trying to figure out how to navigate your way to the song, I want you to have the tools to go, you know what, I could do this differently, I could do that differently. So start to have that critical eye, that strategic eye when we're watching these videos.
But also get your popcorn, go see it, because it's really good on a big screen. Trust me. Dear Lord, she's a rusty. Should have maybe slept a little more. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh no. She's fine. Okay. Stay. I want you to stay. All along the weather feeling. Go ahead, hot-headed, believing. Something like that. Rihanna, stay. Chance. If you change your mind, I'm the first in line. Honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. Mamma Mia. Can't tell me nothing about ABBA. Oh, I am a thriving fan of the ABBA resurgence.
She's gonna go into a story, so I'm gonna fast forward it a little
You
bit.
can help me out with tickets. Love you. Place. There's a place for us, somewhere a place for us. Peace and quiet and open air. Wait for us somewhere. West Side Story at your service. You know what? I am so excited for people to see West Side Story because it's a big, ginormous, glorious reimagination of a movie musical made in the style of all the films we love. It is absolutely beautiful. Goldfinger, he's the man with the Midas touch. Goldfinger, the James Bond movie, really good. Huh. Gotta have some hot stuff, baby, this evening. I need your hot stuff, baby, tonight. Yeah, 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 yeah. That would be my Queen Donna Summer. I played Disco Donna Summer on Broadway. I was Tony nominated for that. Ugh, what a disco diva. Like, someone let the cake out in the rain. You're welcome. Fast. You in a fast car. I got a ticket anywhere. Maybe we can make a decision. Leave tonight, Tracy Chapman, fast car. I mean, if you were to ask my Nana, she would say the song that made me fall in love with music was A Whole New World from Aladdin, because I sang it over and over again until she wanted to hit her head against a wall. But the song that I remember made me fall in love with music was I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston from The Bodyguard, or sung by Whitney Houston from The Bodyguard. It was the drama for me. Oof, drama. I have nothing. Nothing, no, me, cause I don't wanna hurt anymore. Stay in my arms, take you there. I must stay. Imagine you there. Don't walk away from me now. Don't walk. Yeah, you're welcome. It's drama. It's drama. That might have been sharp flat and in between, but I felt it in my spirit. West. Go west, go west. And that's the only lyric I know, but I know it's from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Go west. Side. Nobody's on nobody's side. Again, chess. Check out the Jessica Vosk version of that song. Quality cover. If I do say so myself. story. But these stories don't mean anything. You got no one to tell them to. It's true. I was made for you. Wait, all of these lines across my face tell you the story of who I am. There you go. Story. Brandi Carlile, Queen. I love this. I love that question. If I was to release my own song, I think it speaks to my whole being. I can't love you in the dark. It feels like we're oceans apart. That's a good one. But I'm really vibing with, oh my God, I can't believe it that all other people in the world is so good. Oh my God, it's a vibe. Cross. How do we know who we are unless we cross the line? It's from Bring It On the Musical. We reach for what we love, and when we fall, we know first place doesn't matter at all. Bring It On was my Broadway debut. I was still good at dancing, and also taught me my first encounter with Lin-Manuel that I did it like that. He's a big fat nerd, and guess what? So am I. But he's potentially one of the most creative people you'll ever have in a room. And I remember when I was auditioning for Bring It On, it sounded good from the dance. Woo! Nothing left for me to do but dance. Woo! All these bad times I'm going through, cause dance. Got canned heat in my heels tonight, baby. Oh, woo, just dance, dance, dance. Pretty. I feel pretty. Oh, so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay. And I pity any girl who isn't me today. That would be I Feel Pretty from West Side Story. And I really enjoy the pronunciation of, and this one is for you. And you can tell everybody that this is your song. Forever. It's in West Side Story. Because I can hear Rachel say, forever. Oh, only you, the only thing I'll see forever. In my eyes, in my words, and in everything I do. Nothing else but you, ever. That is the balcony scene. Look at that. Who says I only read the parts with Anita in it?
All right, guys. Oh, great. I'm looking at the chat now. Cool. So before I do the next video, let's stop there. Let's deconstruct it. Okay, so I'm going to call on people and I want you to give me a comment. I hope you took notes while we were watching that on something that you learned from that video, something that you admired. Yeah. So here we go. Cold calls, cold calls. Karen Krista. Tell us one thing that you liked.
I actually wrote a few, but one thing that really stood out is actually she knows that her sound, her voice at that time wasn't that warmed up as much. So I like that she chooses to project different kinds of sound that is healthiest for her voice at that situation.
Great comment. Great comment. Now, just from the audience perspective, if you hadn't seen that beginning where she's like, oh, she's rusty, like, would we think that she didn't sound good that day?
No.
Right? Because I would never have guessed that she didn't sound good, but she lets us in on that, like, oh, I'm a little tired today. So this is an interesting lesson also, because sometimes you will feel tired or you'll feel like your voice is not 100%. But that does not necessarily mean that the audience can tell, right? Because if we didn't know that about her, I would think she sounded fantastic. Great point. Really good point. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Ade Putra, what did you think?
Okay, so from the Song Association game, I noticed that she used growling, and also there's some natural vibrato when she's singing the I Have Nothing.
Yep.
And she's powerful.
Super powerful, right? And so talk to me, did the vibrato, did she sound classical with that vibrato?
A little bit, but I also heard some classical techniques that she used, but in another song that I can quite remember the song name.
Right. And I think for my estimation, I wonder if you guys will agree with me. I didn't feel at any point like her good technique or her classical technique made me question her as a Broadway singer. Like, I just felt like she was singing very healthy. I didn't feel like, oh, she shouldn't be doing Broadway, she's singing classically. Did you feel that?
No.
Right? So it was just really about a good technique. And it was even interesting to me when she does the growling that she's still doing it pretty healthy, isn't she?
Yeah. And she's pretty versatile in terms of the techniques. Like, she can do all of the techniques.
Super versatile, super versatile. Great point, Addie. Great point. Good. I like the way that you guys are, you know, starting to really think strategically about this. Let's take a couple more. Eva Kwang, I'd love to hear from you. What did you think?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, okay. So the video that we watched just now, I really love her confidence. She really has that energy that she radiates to her audience, even though she's tired, but she can still communicate with us. She can still engage with us. And I think that's really important if you're singing, because we're not singing for ourselves, right? We're singing for others. So you need to be able to engage. That's one. And then second, I like how fast she can switch her voice character or voice color from singing pop songs to Broadway musicals to to the I Feel Pretty, I Feel Cute When I'm Pretty. That one is like a little bit classical, right? It's a mix of classical ish. Yeah. She's just very quick in that. And
very quick.
Yeah.
And when she actually also gave us a little snippet of the balcony scene. Only you, you're the only thing I see. Whatever it is, I don't know it very well, but that is a hard song and it is very high. In my life, in my moods, and in everything I'll do. I can't do it like the way she just flicked it off, but she makes it seem like it's nothing, like it's so super easy, right? And so Josephine Lucia wrote here, her voice can be so light and so powerful. So I love this comment also because this goes to what we were learning about today. Who can talk to me about Ariana's use of twang? And I know we just learned the concept of twang of mask today, but would anybody want to give it a crack? Did she use the twang technique? What do you think? How many of you think, yes, I heard some twang technique? I definitely did. So yeah, I think she definitely does. But she's modifying it. So it doesn't sound like, yeah, it doesn't sound ugly, but she modifies it. What's interesting is that she uses this twang for the power, but then she can also go and be light. What did she sing? She sings a short snippet of a whole new world, da, 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 the Little Mermaid one. And she does it really high. A whole new world, da, da. And it's so good. It's like this tiny snippet, but it's super light. It's super fluffy. I'm giving you guys Ariana as an example because there's no way I could demonstrate the way she does. I can demonstrate in classical a lot, but not across the genres the way she does. So like in my mind, as I said, I've watched all the song associations. They're really, really good. And it's really cool to see singers. I think even Mariah Carey does one. Like you see all of these singers doing this in a very kind of naked, exposed way with no accompaniment. but I think she definitely, Ariana, goes across genres effortlessly, and that's due to very good technique. Bunga, thank you. I love that you put this up here. So strengths, her sweet, angelic, yet strong head voice. Weakness, her condition, not sleeping much. Opportunity, the way she goes from very low to and heavy voice to soft head voice. Awesome. Threats are simple. I can see her voice a bit hoarse. She keeps on growling in a way that probably hurts her throat a bit. I agree, Bunga, and I really like that. Particularly, I like that you find an opportunity, which is really her range, right? That she can go from that loud, low sound to a soft head voice, that she has that range, that she has the power and the range of the power and volume also. It's interesting with growling because there is a healthy way to growl, and I think she does access that. At the same time, yeah, I mean, we have to be very careful. Even some of Adele's new recordings, people have criticized that she sounds too raspy or too a little bit strained. So that is super, super important. Grace says, can I differentiate with healthy growling and unhealthy? Good question. I can't really demonstrate a growl because I would be worried I would damage my voice, but I will look for videos of that for the next time. I'm going to write myself a note to find that. You can hear it when it's on pitch. In general, guys, anything when it's pitched, it's probably healthy. When it's not pitched, like when it's more of a scream or a guttural sound, then it's usually unhealthy. But let me find some good examples of that to show you. So is everybody clear on their assignments? There are 70 participants in this room. I know that there are 70 song association videos. I don't care if 2 of you guys do the same one or 5 of you do the same one. We're not going to make assignments, but your assignment is to do exactly what Bunga did: the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. What did they do well? What were the weaknesses? And it could be something like, hey, this person didn't seem very confident. Like that could be a weakness. Yeah. Or yeah, take in the whole presentation, their look, their, you know, maybe they could not guess any of the songs. Like Ariana also, she was like on it. She had no problem with, you know, putting a word for the song, right? Madeline says, I realized she lifts her chin a lot, but it's interesting because she uses it very wisely and healthy. Yes, yes. And this is something that you'll see a lot of Broadway and pop singers do, the slight lift. I worry when I see someone go too much because you're going to strain muscles, but she does it just a little bit, and I think it's okay. Yes, thank you, JPAC, for reinforcing that. Just preview hint. We are going to play a song association at one of our sessions. So I hope you guys are cool with that. It's going to be really, really fun. I wish I could do it in Indonesian, but I think I'm going to have to stick to English. But you guys, I'm going to give the words and you guys are going to do it. So I want you really in the next week to familiarize yourself. Your assignment is one video. I will cold call. So I will say, Anicia, okay, what was your video? And you got to go. But when we do the actual song association, then you guys will be more familiar with how it works, because it seems like most of you have seen it, but maybe some of you haven't. So just check them out. I love them. I've watched them many times. Cool. I want to show you one more video. I actually find this really interesting. This is the other thing I love to check out on YouTube, is when singers are talking about their technique. I personally have watched a lot of classical singers talk about their technique because I think what classical singers do is amazing, but pop singers also. So I'm going to just, sorry. It's one of these ads. Sorry.
Son,
Oh,
we're
boy.
grabbing burgers for dinner if you're interested.
I'm vegan, Walter.
Okay. Here we go.
I've been speaking in a slightly higher placement than I usually speak in because I've been doing a lot of interviews all day and I'm trying to keep my voice healthy.
Yep. So she brings up a point which we have not discussed. How you use your speaking voice is so important for singing. So watch the video carefully.
but it sounds a tiny bit raspy, so but I'm trying. But I usually talk like lazy and like gravelly. But I'm trying to place it healthier. I sound like an idiot. No, I think vocally it was very demanding. It's a very vocal show, and I'm really happy that my voice remained healthy the whole time. I think that means that I'm singing in a healthy placement and using correct technique, and that makes me really happy.
Good.
That it did the whole test of the whole tour.
Yeah, you did.
Because I was doing them all the time, and it's actually really bad for my voice.
Oh, really?
Like, I actually would, but like using my voice in a way that is not natural.
Yeah.
And sort of like mimicking sounds that aren't natural to how my voice usually comes out.
Is that because Brittany does that weed grunt all the time?
No, this is how her voice comes out.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So like if you try to make yourself sound a different way,
yeah,
your voice can sometimes get a little like swollen or irritated.
Thank you so much.
It's been amazing. I love the humidity because I'm from Florida, so it feels like home.
So you don't sweat like we do, then
No, I love it. Why does she look a lot better than we do?
I was like drenching
No,
in
I
sweat.
love it. It's good for the skin, good for the vocal cords, it's good for everything. I love it.
Do you guys remember when we talked, there was a time I was actually sick in April, and we talked about good vocal health. And we did a session on things like humidifiers and steamers. So this is another aspect of things, just staying healthy.
We worked with the same vocal coach in LA at the time, and she texted him and was like, "Hey, can I have her number?" And he was like, "Ariana, can I get Katy Perry your number?"
Thanks.
Keep your eyes on me. Sound like I said ass on me. Pronunciation. Things to work on. Sorry, my voice is gone. I've been screaming on set all week, so I'm a little hoarse.
You've got such a big voice for such a little person. It's huge, isn't it? Like you reach such ranges with your voice. Like, does that take practice, or is it just like one day you open your mouth and it's like, oh God, look at me, I can sing?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like it's just like naturally where my voice sits. You know, I have a higher voice. I don't have much of a lower range. Like when I sing in my lower register, it takes a lot more work for me than it does to sing higher. Like when I get sick or something, like I have a cough right now, I couldn't sing low. You know what I mean? Like that's the first thing to go. My higher register is always there. Like that's just sort of where my voice naturally sits. So thank you. But I don't know. I love performing with Jason because
that's also a very interesting point. So she would be a natural soprano. When I get sick, I also feel that like my high is usually there, but the low and the middle, especially for me, the middle is what goes. So it's another thing to think about when you're thinking about range.
Feels like home. I mean, he was my first, I guess, employer, my first director, musical director, and he really challenged me doing 13, and I think that's why my voice has a very strong stamina. You know, I learned how to sing healthily because of the Broadway schedule, and you know, being thrust into 8 shows a week is an insane thing, and I think that's why I learned so much about vocal health and everything, and it's just really cool to see 2 worlds collide. You know, so much has happened since then. It was just so much fun. Oh, I miss it. So I guess that's my favorite memory, the pre-show rituals and warming up together and stretching and having fun.
You weren't really, when you were young, you weren't seriously trained. Did you have?
No, I had one voice lesson when I was really young. I was a little girl, and I took a lesson with this person at my school. And I wanted to sing Aretha Franklin's Respect.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to sing How Much Is That Doggy in the Window?
Yeah.
And I was like, hell no. I was like, I am not singing this. So she tried to change the way I was singing, and I didn't feel comfortable. She wanted me to sing in like this nice, pretty way. Like super light and, you know, white, for lack of a better word. And I like singing with a little more soul. And I thought that she was trying to change me, and I didn't like that.
どうやってトレーニングしたんでしょうかね? Now you know, I think your voice is God-given, but how did you train? How did you practice?
Thank you. I just sang a lot. Like I sing a lot, and I've never had any injuries caused by how much I sing or how I sing. So I think I'm doing it properly. I only have ever had vocal issues when I've been screaming or like laughing too loud or being, you know, wild, which doesn't happen often. But I think that's you know, I think the practice just came from doing it so much. I listen back and I'm super inspired. I love it.
You should have heard her doing some vocal exercises in here. It was an octave that I've never, ever.
Let me hear it, Ariana. Let me hear it.
I don't
Let me
know.
hear it.
I'm on pressure.
Me.
Did you hear that? Just stretching.
gosh.
Great. They're waking up. It's gorgeous waking up.
8 dolphins just jumped. Breached out of the Pacific Ocean.
And 9 dogs just passed out.
All right.
Cool.
Sorry. So yeah, what are you guys taking away from this? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, because what I'm hoping to give you is a sense that everybody's voice is different. Ariana can sing in a whistle tone, which we talked about Mariah Carey and her whistle tone. Not everybody can do that, right? And we've looked at singers that are much lower range, much higher range. There's some basic vocal technique components that are going to go for all singers. And I would say you're in luck, because primarily a Broadway technique is, as Ariana just said, going to serve you well no matter where you go. A Broadway or a classical technique is much easier to modify, because it gives you the stamina and the strength and the tools to be able to do anything else. But in these last few minutes that we have today, because I know I'm covering a lot today, we're going to go into the voice lessons, the one-on-ones tomorrow. I wanted to sort of give a little bit of time, since it's been several weeks since we were back, and just have an open discussion on any questions that you have or concerns that you have about singing that we haven't addressed so far. Helen K., how about Christina Aguilera? Her speaking voice and singing voice totally different. Is it considered an unhealthy singing? Oh boy, yeah, that's a tough question. I think Christina Aguilera has an amazing voice. I don't think she sings in the healthiest way. She pushes her voice, and talk about like some of the growling and things that I've heard her do. I mean, she's gotten away with it, but first and foremost, you bring up a great point about the speaking voice and the singing voice. Now, bear in mind, when we do these sessions, guys, for me, it's early in the morning. We start at 8 in the morning. So my voice isn't really warmed up until like 10 or 11, you know, even if I'm waking up at 6 a.m., it's just like your body. It takes a little bit of time, but generally speaking, like probably by noon, my speaking voice will be more a little bit up here. When we start, sometimes my speaking voice is down here, but usually my speaking voice is something like this. And then if I go to sing, I just feel like I'm naturally amplifying that. Speaking voices should generally reflect the singing voice. With Christina Aguilera, I hear her voice is super low. Miley Cyrus, that's another singer. I love Miley's sound. I mean, she's got a lot of soul and rasp in that sound. But man, Miley's definitely had some damage done to her cords. There's no question. When you hear her singing, it's not super healthy, but it is, you know, it's part of her charm. I think that one can get away with that much more in pop, particularly if we think of Miley Cyrus and Christina Aguilera, great examples. They have been singing since they were children, right? They were both in like Hannah Montana. Miley was Hannah Montana. Christina was in the Mickey Mouse Club. So they've been singing a long time. They've been singing through puberty. Sometimes that will, you know, come with some damage that they maybe didn't address, but they can get away with it because they're kind of celebrities, right? And whereas if myself or, you know, most Broadway singers, you have to do the job. You have to go on stage and perform, you know, 7-8 times a week. So, you know, it's a little bit different. You really have to have a good technique to start, unless maybe you have some kind of extra circumstance. I will say it's slightly different for men. I think men have more leniency for kind of the raspiness and so forth than women do. But generally speaking, for women, we really need to make sure that our voice is kept healthy. That's a great question, Helen. I'm glad you brought that up. What other questions do you guys have about singing? I'm curious, has anybody implemented a sort of warm up ritual? because it's something I've been thinking a lot about with this class. Like personally, I think maybe in Fridays when we'll start to do a warm up together now because you have so many exercises. But when I go to warm up, I need at least 10 or 15 minutes to warm up. And if you remember, in some of the very early sessions, we sort of talked about the stretching, going side to side, opening this up here on your ribs, your rib cage, that side. Remember we did the to warm up your breath. Yeah. And then just sort of like massaging your face a little bit, starting with like all of that, and then getting into the actual so some of like those warm-ups and things like that. I would like to do a class where we just sort of have a warm-up. But yeah, thank you, Jane, Elena. I'm really, really glad that you're starting to incorporate this. Junia, is there any great sample song for like when you can use all methods of singing? Ooh, good question. Oh man, I think like any song. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes it can be something like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star or Happy Birthday to You. Happy birthday. That's very kind of flat, right? Or happy birthday. That's going to be more operatic, especially where you do it in your range also. Happy birthday to you. So I'm taking the same song and just bringing it way up in my range. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday. So just playing with like the same song and moving it around in different parts of your range. Or sometimes I'll take something like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. And then I'll try to ornament it. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. I'll just try to like play and riff on it. Again, I'm not very warmed up, guys, so forgive me, but I'll take songs where I don't really have to think about the words or the lyrics or remembering it. Partially also, especially for the riffing and making a song my own. Because when I do a song that like has been done a million times, or like the Star Spangled Banner, and I want to try to bring it into my own, I just do it a lot. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's? That's a song that has a huge range, right? So where do I want to breathe? How do I want to do it? Like I'll play with it in different, maybe I'll do it more upbeat. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's? Also, where will I put the breaths? Can I make an elision, like connect a phrase or not? But giving a lot of time to like playing around with that. And that's why I say Star Spangled Banner is a hard one. I probably would go with like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Like maybe I'll try to do it all in one breath. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up so da, 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 da. I need the breath. Like a diamond in the sky, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. That's like, okay, I'm gonna work on my breathing and see how much can I elongate that. Yeah, so there's just different approaches to play around. Yes, Natalia, what is your question?
Yeah, thank you, Carla. You tell me and teach us how to vocal warm out in many type, right? And we can exercise it like routine 10 until 15 minutes. But if we have like a concert or showcase that like we have very, very short time in the big stage, can you tell us what type of the vocal warm up can we do? Thank you.
So do you mean like a sound check situation or a preparing situation?
Just like a usual vocal warm up, but like in the short time, because like in the big stage it's like hectic, and because if don't do the vocal warm
So
up,
the quickest warm up is just like that siren, like ooh, that's like, okay, I know it's there, it's ready, like, because then I'm doing the whole range. But if I had like 3 minutes, I would definitely do some staccatos to warm up my breathing. Just to get the breathing going here. And then I probably will do a lot of scales. Or just like a ton of scales. That just moves my voice around. That's what helps for me. Some people find that arpeggios help them. So that's like a big one. You're getting your full range in. And then probably lastly, I would do something in the chest voice. I would just do something that goes down. And then maybe like a little bit of okay, ready to go. It's like if I had like really 1 or 2 minutes, that would be it. Something with range, something for breathing, and something for the chest voice. Great question. Great question. I'm also seeing a question just about speaking voice. Yes, I definitely think that your speaking voice affects your singing voice. There's no question. I've worked with a number of voice specialists on this. And that's probably the number one thing you can do is learn to speak in a higher resonance. As I said, for me, it does warm up. And I've been told I speak too low. But I think if you just try a little bit at a day to raise your speaking voice, speak slowly, speak well supported. What you want to avoid like this, like talking down here in a grovel, that's the death of a singer. That's the worst thing. So as long as you're kind of keeping it nice and lifted and supported, you should be okay. Madeline, I'm so
Hi, I have a question. I've been in a stump on one warm up where it's doing woo, and it's easier down there, but when I get higher and probably middle register when I'm switching in my passaggio, usually I mean, I know I'm supposed to be doing the same placement, and some people tell me to go to the back and push it forward. And I'm still having, or like put it to the back, to the voice, to the penthouse. And I'm still having some hard time. Like sometimes I get it, but sometimes I don't. Do you have any tips for that?
Definitely. And give me one moment so I can stop this barking. I'm sorry, guys. My dog seems to know it's Friday. So here he is. He remember one time in the class I said like he knows when it's like almost time. Okay, say hi. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Hi, Grizzly. Say hi. You want the treat? Yeah? Can you give a kiss? Good boy. Okay. So definitely a good question. What I would recommend for you is instead of thinking about back or penthouse, I would actually just really think about your exercise. You're going from bottom up, bottom. Can you demonstrate the exercise one more time?
Yeah.
Good. Really beautiful tone. What I would think about is doing it A, faster, and B, like ooh, you're talking about going up there. Can you think of doing it faster and lighter? Can you do that with me?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful, beautiful. And instead of thinking back, I would think forward, like you're throwing a ball. Can you try that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great sound. That's a gorgeous sound. Oh man, Madeline, I want to hear more of you. Can you just keep thinking about it faster too? And when I get up that high, I do tend to smile. I find that that lifts my palate. Try that. Yeah, no problem at all for you.
Yeah.
No problem
That's much,
at all.
that helps a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. What a great voice. I know a singer who intentionally speaks very quietly to save her voice. Yes, I know a lot of singers who do not speak the day of a performance. I know a lot of singers who just try not to speak. Professional singers who really have to give their voice on Broadway every night, or opera singers that are singing big roles. Yeah, a lot of them will just, and it's really, really hard because like if you have a relationship, a wife or husband, and children, like, can you imagine being like, oh, I'm not going to talk for several days? I mean, now it's much easier because you can text. When I was starting my career, you had to write handwritten notes, and gosh, there were a lot of singers I knew who were like only writing handwritten notes the day of a performance. I don't know, guys. I think that you have to find balance. I wouldn't suggest like no speaking. It's not going to make that much of a difference. You have to speak in a healthy way. When I was a student in my conservatory, they brought a voice speaking coach to help us learn to speak well, because they believed so much that speaking well would be tied to singing well. So we would have to do like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like really trying to figure out, do you dip down? Do you go up? How do you do this? And I think I could give you many exercises, but I think the key is awareness. If your voice feels tired, then don't use it. If you went to a party and you screamed and all this, then the next day you feel tired, don't speak or sing, rest. If it's just a regular day and you have to speak, try to speak in a healthy way, slowly projecting, using your breathing, avoid the down vocal fry kind of things. And I think if you're singing anything that's demanding, maybe don't speak as much. Certainly avoid noisy places where you have to speak loudly. Avoid screaming or shouting of any kind. And be careful with laughing. I mean, Ariana Grande cites that too. Laughing or crying can be really hard for the voice. Obviously, we have to live our lives. I'm not saying don't laugh or don't cry, but if you've got a boyfriend or a girlfriend that's causing you to cry every single day, well, I mean, you probably want to do something to change that situation anyway, right? That's not a good situation. So, no, these are really, really good questions. I feel that the level of your awareness has really increased in our classes of how you're thinking about your voice. No, look, men will have a different way of speaking. If you are like, Rodden, I think you're kind of a high tenor. So I would not recommend for you that you go down into a voice. But if there's a male and he's like a bass, naturally he's like, that's his vocal range, then I wouldn't tell him to speak in a higher voice. You just kind of find where is the natural place of your voice. And if you can, and they made us do this in school too, record yourself speaking. It's really hard to listen to speaking voice for some reason, but record yourself speaking and analyze it. You now have tools to analyze your voice. But in general, I would say you want to sort of keep it in a very healthy place. Practicing before performance. When I do Carmen, which is 3 hours of unmiked singing, I only warm up about 20 or 30 minutes. So if you're doing one song, you can warm up for maybe 30, 40 minutes, you know, but if you're doing a show, you probably don't need to warm up for more than 15 or 20 minutes, you know, it depends. And it also depends on the day. If I'm really like tired, I might need a longer warm up to get there. So it really depends. Most of this is just about like learning to hear your intuition and learning to like go, oh, today I need a little extra warm up, or today I like don't need more than 5 minutes. It's ready, you know? So that's why warming up every day and finding where's your middle part, your sort of like normal, that's what's really going to help you set that. Nice. Yeah, that's a good one. So Asti, let's take a look at that question for next time. It might just be that you're bringing too much weight. That's something we haven't talked about yet, but sometimes we bring too much weight to the high notes. So in other words, when I'm down in my chest voice, la, I have a lot of weight in that sound. Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't bring that much weight to my high voice. When I have to go high, I'll try to keep it light. So I'll try to go lighter when I'm going higher. So it's a matter of like how much weight you carry up. When I practice high, I'll think to myself, how soft can I make that tone? And when I practice low, sometimes I think, how loud can I make that tone? So that's just kind of a different way to look at it in terms of the weight. Guys, I think we're at time. I'm sorry, this always goes so quickly. I have my friend here, like, yeah, it's time. When are we going for a walk? I apologize. I will see you tomorrow morning. Don't forget your homework. You pick one song association and be ready to do a SWOT analysis. Be ready to really analyze it. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's have a quick photo session before we end. If you guys can turn on the cameras on, that would be better.
Grizzly, do you want to be in the photo? What do you think? Come on.
Yeah, Grizzly, come in.
Come on. There you go. Do you want to be in the photo? No? Oh, yeah.
Okay, everyone's ready? Yeah. I'm gonna count in 3, or hold on. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, one more time. And 3, 2, 1. All right, another one. Okay, and we're done for today. Thank you guys. See you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys. Say thank you. Say thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Bye.
Bye, Grizzly.
Carla, see you again.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Carla.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.